What a welcome! How happy I am. My name is David Lagerkrans, and I'm going to speak about three people that fascinate me deeply and change my way of thinking. And I'm also going to say a word or two about a contradiction. I call it a Salvador paradox. You remember Salvador Dali with his moustache, don't you, the surrealist? But first, I'm going to speak about a little boy who played football not long from here. He was a star on the field. But when he was a teenager, he got a whole team against him. The parents, they wrote a list to kick him out of the team. True, it was a bit of a complicated situation because he had headbutted a guy who had gone to hospital with a broken nose, so maybe you can understand the parents. But anyway, a list to kick out the player who would be the best we ever had. And the second person is an inventor from Stockholm. He created a genius, sophisticated communication system that could navigate the whole world's aircraft better than the old radar system. So what do you think happened with him? Did we praise him, hail him as the hero? No. He was sued over and over, and he got a whole radar industry against him. And then I have a mathematician who understood that simple commands on and off could describe complex context. During the 40s, he cracked the Nazi code and probably shortened the second word war. He was the father of the computer and laid the foundation of AI research. But he was also gay and different. And what do you think happened? He was arrested and convicted for gross indecency. I've written a book about these three people. You recognize Zlatan, of course, and the inventor Håkan Lans, and the mathematician Alan Turing. And I slowly understood that they all had something in common. They have all met ridicule and resistance along the careers. And I understand this was no coincidence. That's how it is. It's never enough to be brilliant. You have to have the strength to defend it as well. We all say, don't we, that creativity is wonderful, don't we? But it's bullshit. It's often just lip service. Research shows very clearly that creative people face more angers than others. And it's really no wonders, because we have this status quo bias. We like what's familiar, what we feel safe in. A new idea, a new way of thinking threaten us. And that's partly rational, of course, because new ideas need resistance. Opposition sharpens the outsider, filter out bad ideas. But it's also a rest of ancient times. It's in our DNA. When we were hunters and gatherers and our brain evolved, the unity in the herd was crucial for our surviving. We had to establish rules to stay together. And whoever broke the norms created anxiety, and anxiety was a risk. So in other words, remember that the group has a self-interest to push people who stood out down. And we as well have that impulse. according to the simple logic, we want to guard our status in the herd. If someone rise, we shrink a little bit. If someone shine, a little less light fall on us. We have reason to put creative and different people down. But then, of course, certain people succeeds. Håkan Lans, as I remember, the inventor, he fought back and won. His system is now world standard. And Zlatan, of course, he never stopped playing. He just grows stronger. I remember he said to me, I use insult as fuel. The more they boo, the stronger I get. And there's actually a word for that. In creativity research, there is a word for this I love. You maybe have heard of post-traumatic stress syndrome, haven't you? But this is the opposite. This is a post-traumatic growth. The ability to emerge stronger from crisis and adversity. And successful innovators and entrepreneurs, they have just that, the capacity to brush off resistance and mockery. They have to be tough to succeed. And that is inspiring, of course, isn't it? We have to be tough. But it's also sad, because many gifted or unorthodox people, they make themselves smaller along the way. Especially those who are highly sensitive, like me, actually, or those who are unfortunate to live in times of prejudice, like my biggest hero, Alan Turing. In his days, homosexuality was a crime, and he was not only convicted for it, he was also forced to take female sex hormones that some genius scientist thought would cure him. He sank into depression, and he killed himself by dipping an apple in cyanide. History, as you may know, is full of brilliant people that has been crushed and silenced. And not only geniuses, all kinds of deviants and odd people have made themselves smaller to fit in. Maybe you have experienced the same thing. I mean, you make us a bit smaller to not meet aggression. I certainly have. When I was young, people got so irritated and aggressive when I had my way of a bit snobby, maybe, I don't know, and too transparent about my feeling, and they irritated of my way of speaking, my sort of odd, a bit old-fashioned language. So for years, I bowed to the pressure. I acted less intellectual, less transparent, and maybe less neurotic. I had to have some success with my books before I could be myself. And then I noticed something very interesting. The very same thing that people irritated me for, my transparency and my language, was suddenly my greatest asset. And that is, my friend, the paradox of Salvador Dali. Remember his mustache? I mean, you can't even imagine how ridiculous he was for it. But when he became famous, that was, the mustaches was sort of the symbol of his genius. And that's really the thing. Creative people, different people, they are mocked when they are climbing, but when they succeed, they are not only idolized. We see everything about them in a new light. Even their mustaches, an old violent attack. We can even say that the whole past change. And if I want to give you something to think about is that when you have the impulse to put someone or something down, I mean, we do that all the time. We say, oh God, who is he? I mean, he's just bragging, or what kind of people. When you do things like that, ask yourself, do I really dislike it? Or am I just threatening by the idea? And that's a good thing to always have. And most importantly, if you feel headwinds, resistance, opposition, when people say that you are too much, you are too flamboyant or strange or different, remember that that kind of headwinds could actually be a sign that you are on to something. So please don't let our evolutionary instincts put you down. Don't let the old herd break you. Be yourself, fight, and I wish you all the luck with that. Thank you.